Hi everyone, it's Grant Ellis, aka PFC Amy Grant from OutpostZero.net, and it's an exciting day for me because after 2 months of not doing any unboxing videos, I get to open something because a package came today, and inside it we have the latest adventure pack for the Angmar Awaken cycle, the Escape from Mount Graham. And the reason I wasn't able to do an unboxing last month is I had actually pre-ordered the Wastes of Eriador Adventure Pack and Escape from Mount Graham on the same time in the same order. So instead of sending one the month it came out and Escape from Mount Graham this month, instead they waited until both items were available since I only had paid for shipping once. So it was a mistake on my behalf, and I'll make sure when I order in the future, such as the Land of Shadow, which was released a couple days ago at Gen Con, as well as the Across the Ettenmoors Adventure Pack, I'll make sure that I order them separately, and I have, so I should be able to do these unboxing videos a little more periodically. Here's the Adventure Pack. You notice it no longer comes in the cardboard casing. The artwork's been spoiled for many months, as well as most of the box art from the Angmar Awaken cycle. They've already announced all the various adventure packs that will be coming out. As we flip on the back, we have a little bit of flavor text. We'll bring that in a little closer. It says Escape from Mount Graham is an adventure pack of 60 fixed cards for the Angmar Awaken expansion to the Lord of the Rings, the card game. The contents of this pack were designed to augment existing decks and to provide players with an entirely new scenario upon which their heroes can adventure. In other words, if you're this far into the Lord of the Rings living card game, you know exactly what you're getting when you're buying this. As for me, I have not looked at any of the cards in advance. I haven't looked at any of the spoilers. There's been a few that have come across my desk, but I've been busy enough that I haven't paid them any mind. So let's go ahead and get into this expansion pack and open it up and see what we're looking at as far as player cards. We're not going to cover any of the encounter cards in this unboxing video. Reason for that is I want to give you, the players, the chance to experience those on your own. And there are other sites that spoil the encounters in advance, and feel free to seek those out for your spoilers. Alright, examining the rule sheet, they've given the scenario a difficulty rating of 5, but as we know, those numbers can vary in practice versus prediction. As we take a glance over the narrative, we find that we're going to create a captured deck. There's a new capture keyword, and cards will be both captured and rescued. At a certain point in the scenario, multiple players may band up and join together, and there will also be a special way in which the staging area is constructed for each player. And also, on the back, there's this section entitled Raziel. I haven't gotten into the cards yet, but my prediction is this may be the hero of this expansion, as the name has come up in several of the articles I've seen previously written about the game in connection to being a hero. So the rules look pretty straightforward. It looks like they're going to introduce the new capture mechanic into the game, and as I explore the scenario in practice and playthrough, that'll probably become a little more apparent to me. Let's get into the cards. Alright, coming up on the player cards, the very first card, as mentioned in the rules, is Raziel. Forgive me my mispronunciations. She has a threat cost of 8, which is fairly low for a hero card. A willpower of 2, 1 attack, 2 defense, 3 hit points. She shares the Sylvan trait, and her ability reads, if the active location shares a trait with a location in the victory display, Raziel gets +2 willpower. If the attacking enemy shares a trait with an enemy in the victory display, Raziel gets +2 defense. So she has buffs dependent on either locations or enemies ending up in the victory display. My thought is she will have either attachments or events that will send either enemies or locations into the victory display. First player card is an ally. It has 3 costs, the Gondor and Warrior keywords and traits. The Veteran of Osgiliath, 2 hits, 1 willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense. It belongs to the leadership sphere. And the Veteran of Osgiliath gets +1 willpower, attack, and defense while your threat is 40 or higher. So it appears to be building upon the Valor mechanics that were introduced a little earlier in the cycle. And at 3 costs, it feels a little expensive, but the bonuses may be worth it, as well as having any attachment or events that lower the cost to play allies. The next card is Descendants of Kings. It is a 1-cost event. Ready X Dunedain characters you control. X is the number of enemies engaged with you. That is an absolutely awesome card. 1, the Dunedain benefit from being engaged with enemies. 2, being able to ready them based on the number of enemies engaged with you for the cost of 1 resource in the sphere that is most resource rich, is extremely efficient and effective at gaining an action advantage over the enemies of the encounter. Moving past the 3 copies of that card, we come to, it looks like an Ent. We have a Tactics ally for a cost of 2. It has a willpower of 1, 1 attack, 2 defense, 3 hits. It's called the Durndingle Warrior. It has Sentinel. It cannot have restricted attachments. It enters play exhausted, as most Ents do. And while Durndingle Warrior is defending, it gains action. Deal 1 damage to Durndingle Warrior to give it +3 defense for this attack. So, can kind of be an uber defender. That ability is limited to once per attack. It's good to have a low-cost Sentinel that can come out onto the board. Defender of Ramus doesn't have the Sentinel keyword. Some of those Eagles, you need to pay resources to keep them out. This one can kind of hulk up really big, but you definitely need to make sure that you either have a healing effect or a way to mitigate damage off of them. So we move past the Durndingle Warrior. We come to another interrelated event, and this interrelated event is Boomed and Trumpeted. It is a 1-cost tactics event. Response after an Ent character takes any amount of damage, ready it. That character gets +3 attack until the end of the phase. Wonderful. That could be really beneficial to play on Treebeard. It could be beneficial to play on the Booming Ents, or in fact any of the Ents. They're pretty powerful. Quick Beam is another good one to combo it with. It's kind of interesting to see the development of the Ent trait and how powerful these tree people can be. Our next card is a Spirit Ally. It costs 2, has stats of 1 willpower, attack, and defense, 2 hits. It is the Elven Jeweler. It looks like it's expanding the Noldor trait, and the action is discard 2 cards from your hand to put Elven Jeweler into play from your hand under your control. Seems like a quick way to, if you have more cards than resources, that's a quick way to get it out. You may also have cards that bring events back from your discard pile into your hand. And I apologize for the delay, but I know there's a number of Dwarven cards that can return discarded cards back to your hand or back into play under your control. And kind of neat, kind of straightforward, interested to see how it will work with a variety of deck types. And again, it does have the Noldor trait, which is definitely needed to be expanded. The next card is a side quest card. The next card is a side quest card. Limit 1 per deck. When this stage is defeated, reduce the player's threat by 5. And it is a form of threat reduction that can be introduced into your deck. It's a spirit side quest. Interesting. The following player card is Leave No Trace. It's a 1-cost lore event, limit of 3 copies. Can be in the victory display, and the response is after a non-unique location explored, add Leave No Trace to the victory display to add that location to the victory display. There you have it, the combo with Raziel, where you can get locations into the victory display to take advantage of either her willpower boost, and in order to get her defensive boost, you're going to need to get enemies. Perhaps we'll find another card, perhaps not. Next player card on our list is Distant Stars. It's a 0-cost lore event. The action is exhaust a ranger or scout character to discard a non-unique active location, then search the encounter deck and discard pile for a non-unique location, make it the active location, shuffle the encounter deck. And it's a way to quickly swap out that active location with either one you've already explored or one that has been discarded or one that has not appeared yet. And then apparently it allows you to select it, and that may be a means of getting a beneficial active location that might have a bonus or a buff to your players, as opposed to an active location that is causing a hindrance or debuff, damaging effect to the players. The final card it looks like is Kina's Lances. It's a 5-cost neutral event. Reduce the cost to play Kina's Lances by 1 for each card worth no victory points in the victory display, so that also combos with Raziel, or Lore, or the Leave No Trace card, as add Kina's Lances to the victory display, then choose one, add 2 resources to a hero's resource pool, draw 3 cards, or reduce your threat by 4. Similar to a Gandalf effect, except instead of dealing direct damage to an enemy, you have the option to add resources to a hero's resource pool, or it can be used for threat reduction or card draw, and the cost is lowered by the number of cards worth no victory points in the victory display, and it's a neutral event. There you have it. Those are the cards that have been released in the Escape from Mount Graham Adventure Pack as far as player cards. Hit us up on Outpost Zero. You can subscribe to my channel if you want. I will mostly only be doing these unboxing videos. The Land of Shadow was released at Gen Con this week and should be on its way. And after that, it'll be Across the Ettenmoors, and that'll bring us halfway through the Angmar Awakened cycle, and also finishing up the Two Towers portion of the Saga campaign. As always, game on.